Aloha, welcome to Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics. Today, we're going to be playing with our pendulums. We're going to go through exactly what you need to do as you are getting ready to ask your pendulum questions, taking care of your pendulum, selecting a pendulum, and then we're going to actually ask some questions. If you're part of my Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics group on meetup.com, then you're here with me and you'll get to play afterwards as we do our chakra systems and different things like that, where we get to really dive deeper into it. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to learn more, then contact me directly, Geralyn St. Joseph, and I'm at GeralynSt.Joseph.com, or you can message me through YouTube. Thanks. Well, let's get going. And a word of warning, my cat is a little crazy today, so if suddenly she starts knocking everything down, I warned you. Okay. Using the pendulum for dowsing and divination is something that's been done for centuries, probably millennia, because it's a very simple, easy tool to use. The first thing we need to do is select a pendulum. I have two with me that are regular purchased pendulums. This is one that is made out of rose quartz, and it's a very pretty wand. It's a balanced wand because you have the feminine and the masculine. It's good for directing energy. It's very well balanced. It has its little ball up at the top to make it easy to hold, and the cord is not too long. Something that's gotten really popular is having pendulums. Oh, I should take my other pendulum out, but having pendulums as bracelets, but the pendulum part of it will be much smaller, and that's fine. Here's another pendulum, and this one is a purchase pendulum also. This is denoting the chakra system. It is made of hematite, which is a very good protective stone, and the top little crystals are also the chakra system. Basically, when you're choosing a stone to be part of your collection, the best thing to do is to look at it and feel it. So if you have a chance to actually purchase a stone, I always recommend doing that as opposed to ordering something online, because you can get a feel for it. You can get a feel for things online if you know the merchant, or you might just get a sensation, like an intuitive hit that this is a good stone for you. Then, if you don't want to purchase something, it's very easy to make your own pendulum. So most of the stuff that I have here is gemstones, just because I'm a gemstone freak. So, but it doesn't have to be. You have this is a stone, and it is a necklace that I wear quite often. It can free flow back and forth. I can hold it. It can still answer questions, and it's nice and balanced. Then I have another that I use now. This is all metal. This is my Gabriel metal. And this is not as balanced because it is flat. So it might be a little bit more difficult for someone to use if they're not used to pulling in that much energy. Moving the pendulum really uses a lot of energy from your spirit guide or whoever it is that you're asking the questions of. And then I have two more to show you also, other ones that are not completely balanced, but that can be used. So I have this beautiful piece of bloodstone. And again, this is a necklace that I wear. And as you can see, it's not particularly balanced, but I will show you later how I do use it. If you become very experienced and you like using the pendulum a lot, you could use almost anything as a pendulum. And as a kid, I don't know if this is an Italian thing or not, but we used to, our mothers, when somebody was pregnant, you would take either their wedding band and you would put it on a string and you put it over their belly to see if it was a boy or a girl. Or I remember my grandmother just using a needle, like a sewing needle, and putting it over their belly to see if it was a boy or a girl. So that was always fascinating as a kid. Again, I don't know if that's cultural or not. It's just something I grew up with. So when you're figuring out what you're going to use as a pendulum, you basically could use anything that you feel comfortable with. Especially as a beginner, it's best to find something that is very balanced. So if you have to use a necklace of some kind, using something that is symmetrical like this, where it's balanced in each direction, is a lot easier than using something like this that's flat, but obviously it would tend to do that more than it's going to do this unless you're really tapped in, because it's heavy and it's going to take a lot of energy to move it forward. Number one, what powers the pendulum? I've had lots of people tell me that it's your subconscious that's answering the questions, and that it's your body movements that do it. It actually is not spirit. If you want to believe that, that's fine. And that works actually if you're going to ask medical questions about yourself, because your body knows. There's something called body testing, which some chiropractors do, and other doctors who are a little bit more advanced will use this. And what they do is oftentimes you put your arm out and they'll do that's a strong, and then they'll ask you a question that you know is false, and you'll see that you get a weak signal. So that's called body testing. If you're body testing using a pendulum, then that is your subconscious or your body, your physical body answering the questions, because your physical body knows the answer to those questions. Saying that it's your subconscious answering the questions doesn't really make sense if you're doing a reading for someone else or about something that you don't know the answer to. So I don't really ascribe to that. That to me is a cop-out. It's kind of like saying that, you know, ghosts don't exist or something like that. People don't believe in any kind of intuition when it's obvious and has been proven over the ages that certain things do work, and we just maybe don't know how yet. Really not that big of a deal. Once you have your object that you're going to use as your pendulum, your best bet is to clear it before you start working with it, because you don't want to have like negativity around it. You also want to be centered. So as you center yourself, you can also center whatever that object is. So I'm liking this little girl for today. So I'm going to use her, and I'm going to use her as an example of what this looks like. So if you've used any types of crystals, you should have learned at some point how to clear them. How do we clear them? You can rub them gently under warm water. If they're the type of crystal, you can do that. If it's selenite or something like that, you can't do that. It will melt in your hands. If it's something like malachite, you also cannot do that. It will poison you. So we don't want to do those things. But most crystals can be put under water. That's one way. Another way is to charge it under the full moon. Some people charge those under a new moon. Some people put them out in the rain. Some people put them in sunlight. I like to be quick, fast, and easy. So what I do is I simply will center myself at the same time that I clear this. So if you have a pendulum with you or something you want to use as a pendulum, grab it now, because we're going to clear them. Okay. Take a deep breath and release it slowly. And relax. And again. And release. Imagine a ball of white light above our heads. From it emanates shafts of light that enter us through the tops of our heads and fills us with its energy. Feel this energy, warm, like oil being poured into you at the top of your head, and it fills you and cleanses you and relaxes you. Gold and white, it swirls around and fills your head and your throat, down your arms and your chest, down your torso, into your hips, down your legs and out your feet and your hands. See yourself as glowing from within. Feel the stone or stones in your hand. Imagine the white light permeating the stones and making it also glow. The white light balances, it clears, and it protects. Raises your vibration and the vibration of whatever object you will be using. The ball of white light expands and descends until it comes down upon us, around us, and it clears out our area. It is all around us, above and below, to the right and the left, to the front and the back. And feel the energy as it swirls around you and through you. And push it out. It's in your room and in your home, and is cleansing and clearing, and nothing can pass through this bubble that is not for your highest and greatest good. Now that we have our bubble set, now our crystals are cleared and charged, or our pendulums are cleared and charged, and they're ready for us to use them. Another quick, easy way, especially if you're not feeling great, I use rose water. And I will, put it in my hands a little bit. I might, bathe in it, squirt it around me. But rose is one of the highest vibrations on the planet. So using rose water or rose oil to anoint things helps to bring up the vibration immediately, and it helps clear out your area, your space. So even using rose incense or oils works very well. Now, what we want to do, and I'm going to move this out of the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start talking to our pendulum. Take your pendulum, and usually the best way to do it is so that you have your elbow on something stable, so that then you don't have to worry about, like, if you're trying to hold it up, then a lot of times you'll have issues with doing that. So I'm going to put this down a little bit so that you can see the pendulum better. Okay. So I'll make that extra short so you can see it. Okay. Take a deep breath, relax. Being relaxed and centered is some of the most important things that you can do whenever you're doing any type of praying, meditation, divination, anything. You want to be relaxed and clear, because you want to call in your highest guardians and guides to help you. Now, I know my primary guide is Gabe. So if I want to do something, I'll ask him. And always, always, always be polite and be grateful. Always say thank you. So here we go. So of course this is moving because I'm Italian. I can't talk without moving all over the place. Plus, it's natural for your hands to vibrate a little bit, especially if you've taken a lot of caffeine or anything like that. That's another reason why it's good to be more calm when we're doing this, more relaxed. Okay. So the first thing we do is we'll say, please show me a yes. Now, that's not the strongest response I've ever gotten, but that's a yes. A yes is just like your head. Stop the pendulum, please. Sorry, buddy. Please show me a no. And you see a no is the same as your head, back and forth, no. Stop the pendulum, please. Can you show me, or please show me a maybe? See how it's going in a circle? And usually that will start, stop the pendulum, please. Thank you. That will usually start as a yes or no, and then go into a circle. And that says yes, but no, but there's something else. Either the way you're asking the question is not giving them enough to work with, or you're just, the question is too full for a yes or no answer. So you might kind of get what you want, but you're not going to completely get what you want. Or it could be that, well, no, your timing is off. No, not exactly. So then that's just, generally when that happens, that tells us that we need to investigate further. Once you have that, or you might want to do this before then. Hello, camera, can you please? Come on. I'm all blurry. So is the pendulum. I want the pendulum to be clear. There we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So once we do that, or you could do this before, really doesn't make a difference because we've already cleared the area. What I usually do is I call to Gabriel, and he is my primary guide and guardian. If you don't know the name of your primary guardian or guide, you can just ask for your primary guardian or guide, and you say, hi, Gabe, may I ask you some questions? And he gives us a yes right away. Thank you very much, Gabe. Stop the pendulum, please. Thank you. Notice how polite we are. Always be polite, always be grateful, always say thank you and please. Okay. So then when you're asking questions, the best way to ask questions is to be very, I want to say specific, not oftentimes when we speak and we do like this double speak thing. So you can't do that. It needs to be a yes or a no. And you can't ask spirit, should I, whatever. If you should do something, that is taking away your will. We are built to have self-determination. Thank you. And when we say should, we're taking that away. We're saying like, oh, there's somebody else or something else that is figuring this out for us, which is not true. Yes, we have destiny. Yes, we have soul contracts. Yes, there are some things that are going to turn up in our life no matter what we do. However, what we do with it, that is up to us. That's called free will. Ergo, saying should does not accomplish anything. Spirit will generally give you and sometimes you won't get an answer at all. Like it just will refuse to answer until you change the question. So a better way of asking a question would be something like, is it for my highest and greatest good to XYZ? Or is my best course of action for my greater good to be whatever? Something like that. So if you guys have questions that you want me to ask while we're filming, I can do that. You just have to put them in the chat. Okay. So there are times when I'll ask a question, Spirit really does not want to answer. And oftentimes, okay, hold on. Okay, Gabe, show me what it looks like when you really don't want to answer. Yeah, there you go. And I don't know if you could see how much it's trembling. It's like it just is going like this very quickly. I don't know how well you could see that. Thank you very much, Gabe. You can stop the pendulum now. Thank you. So seeing that kind of an answer is like you're treading on ground that you're not supposed to be treading on. This is not something that you need to know, or your question is so far off that they don't know how to answer you. It is very, very important that you know who you're speaking to, because just like when you're dealing with any type of divinatory tool, you want to know and become familiar with your personal guides and guardians so that you know who you're talking to and you know whether or not you can trust the information. There are trickster spirits out there, and they are more than happy to give you misinformation for you to go tra-la-la-la-la and do things and then not have what you need because of that. So we discussed using the pendulum to figure out internal things also. One of the things you may want to ask, okay, so one of the things you may want to ask, I just recently bought these oils, these wonderful essential, they smell so good. And I bought them at a fundraiser for a cemetery, and this woman was amazing. I'm not seeing the name of her place on there, and it is written so very tiny, so tiny that I can't read it, but maybe you can. But they smell wonderful. They're great. I really like them. But before I chose the ones that I did, I asked Spirit, I'm like, okay, is this something that's beneficial for me? So it's kind of like muscle testing, as I had said. And the only reason why I'm holding this as short as I am is because you can't see it otherwise. It's too far down. Let me see. Well, it's too late for that. Okay, we're going to do it this way. All right, Gabe, can you stop the pendulum, please? Thank you. Will this essential oil, is this essential oil something that is beneficial for me? We got to have a yes. Thank you very much. Stop the pendulum, please. Oh, one of the things I forgot to go over with you guys. When you first start, I'm so used to working with Gabriel all the time that I don't think of it, but when you first start practicing with your pendulum, you should always ask questions that you know the answer to, and you say, you do maybe 2 true questions and 1 false question in whatever order, and don't do it the same every time. So like if I did something like, I'm a natural brunette. No, I am not. Stop the pendulum, please. My eyes are blue. Stop the pendulum, please. You can see my eyes are very brown. I am half Romanian. Stop the pendulum, please. Thank you very much. And you make sure that you get the correct answers. Another way you can do that is to write things and put them in envelopes. And you have the envelope in front of you, and maybe you know what's in the envelopes, but you don't know which order, like you shuffle them up. And like one might say peace, one might say love, and one might say war or something. And you put your hand on the envelope and you say, this, I'm gonna do it with a word. Okay, so stop the pendulum, please. Thank you. This is something I have in my heart. Thank you, Gabe. Stop the pendulum, please. So, and the word is peace. So that's very beneficial. always testing. Don't assume that you know who you're talking to. I tell my clients and my students all the time that one of the things that you need to do is create a secret signal between you and your primary guide. And that way you can always tell whether it's them or not. When they come in, you can ask, please show me, and they'll do whatever the secret signal is. I probably have a video up somewhere about that. Back and forth for no and side to side for yes, opposite of the usual. Is that possible? It can be possible. It's not norm. So the thing with that is I would go through and ask it the qualifying questions to make sure that it is that. And you might be playing with a trickster as opposed to having someone that you can really rely on if they're giving you the opposite. If though you're comfortable with that and you're comfortable with whoever you're dealing with, I say go for it. Because I know people who are like, oh, this is yeah, I'm not doing that with mine. Clockwise is yes, counterclockwise is no, or vice versa. And I'm like, that confuses me. So the way I've always worked with my pendulums is yes and no. It's the easiest one to figure out and the easiest one to keep straight. So we can look at our bodies and figure out what it is that, like where we might have an illness or what's going on with different things. And the way to do that is you would draw your body or get a picture of yourself even, or get a picture of the person you're asking about. And you go over different sections of the body and you say, I am well. And you ask it to take it kind of, I have a scratchy throat right now. So Spirit's like, not really, but we could talk about it. So, all right, I'm going to try to move these so you can see them all on the camera. I'll put them closer together. These are chakra stones, and these are just for the core chakras, and then your Gaia point, which is your grounding, to see whether or not your grounding is effective or you're grounded well. So I put our chakras here, and you honestly can use anything. You could use a picture with the different chakras. You could just name them. I like using gemstones because of the way that they interact with us physically and energetically. I feel like using gemstones gives me a better pulse on what I'm doing, and that gemstones also can give me more back so far as if I need help with something. I'm going to take my rose water and I'm going to go over all my gemstones to clear them. I do clear and program and energize my gemstones on a regular basis. That is something I highly recommend. They are living creatures. They do have their own energy, and just like you need to be loved, they need to be loved also. So there go some of my babies. All right, so the way I do your chakra system, I have plenty of videos up about what the chakra system is. It's basically your energetic system. And this is what we call the core chakra system. So most people teach about the core 7 chakras. They are in or on the physical body. They begin with the root down in your sitting bones, and they end with the crown, which is at the top of your head. And these different energy centers each do something a little bit different with you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So they have different jobs of what they do. I tend to utilize also the Gaia point, And the Gaia Point is where your energetic is attached to the earth. It's almost like an umbilical cord. When we say we're being grounded, or I need grounding, it means your umbilical cord got a little mucky. It needs to be cleaned out and refreshed. So that's when we want to have grounding. And when we want to have grounding, oftentimes we will go and walk in the grass or touch a plant, hug a tree, go outside. Like it's all these things with reconnecting to the earth. In whatever manner we have to do that. So if you live in a major city and there's no green around you, maybe you're going to go on YouTube and watch the ocean or watch a walk through the forest or do something like that. So that is something to keep in mind. Grounding is very important because it helps you flush out toxins and it helps you to utilize the energy around you much better. So for now, I'm going to leave the Gaia stone out of it. You have your root chakra. Your root chakra is your sense of survival. It's your sexuality. It's about getting your needs met, your most basic, most physical needs met. Then you have your sacral. Your sacral is, I think it's 2 or 3 fingers under the belly button. For a woman, it sits over your uterus. Another thing with the chakras, I've done whole classes on the chakras. So there's a lot to them. This is very, very basic. And of course, I'm not going to cover everything because there's so many different ways to do it. It's a very ancient methodology. So what the sacral chakra is for, it's about bringing things to life. It's about your creativity. It's the fire in your belly. It's your passion. It's making things real. Then you have your solar plexus. Solar means sun. And the solar plexus is about your self-esteem. It's also about balance because your solar plexus is kind of the point at which everything comes together. So you have your spiritual, you have your emotional, you have your physical, and it all comes together in your solar plexus. When your solar plexus is out of whack, you often will be angry. You'll get everything like weighs on you a lot more than it should. You don't understand things. You're not good at processing. And you have your self-esteem will go down where you'll start believing negative things. So you need to be careful of that. I have a whole class on that. And I have a book on that too called The Whole Self, Healing Through the Chakra System. I remembered. Then you have the heart chakra, and the heart is not just green. A lot of people think it's just green. It is not. It is green and pink. It looks like a yin and yang symbol. Pink, as in rose quartz, is good for it. Malachite. This is called aventurine. All these different stones are really good for the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is about allowing love to come to you, as well as you loving others and you loving yourself. So it's actually a complex when we go into the more expanded chakra system. But for now, we're just dealing with the core heart. And the core heart and the root work together in order for you to have the most fulfilling life possible. If those two are out of whack, and often they are, that's when we run into issues. Then we have blue, which is the throat. The throat is about your expression in the world. It is about speaking and talking and expressing yourself, but it's more about your expression in the world, whether that is singing or sewing or dancing or creating things or being an artist or whatever it might be. The throat is all about your expression in the world and the way you show up in the world. So when that is closed up, when you have a problem with that, sometimes you have a problem with your voice. But oftentimes what happens is you might have neck issues. You'll have problems like really putting yourself out there. So you might be an amazing artist. So you have your sacrals all going, but you won't be able to put it out in the world because your throat is not open. So that's the throat chakra. Then we have, I'm using lapis lazuli for the third eye. The third eye is indigo. Just so you know, this is calcite, blue calcite. I love calcite of all forms. So the third eye is about your intuition. It's about connecting with spirit and seeing the long view, seeing what's coming up for you or for others, and being able to integrate that. Then you have, this is just a regular clear quartz crystal. It's so cute. I love it. And that is the crown. And the crown is referred to as the 1,000-petaled lotus. And that actually is 3 colors. And that starts as a beautiful violet color into white and gold. So oftentimes that will be a beautiful piece of amethyst will indicate the crown, and it's good to open the crown and cleanse it. It's very, very high vibration. So I'm going to get off. I can go for days on gemstones, but I'm not going to do that today because we need to get through this. Okay, so what we do is we see that our chakra systems are here, right? Now your chakras are, they're energy centers. They take in energy and they also release energy. So they go through the entire physical body and out into the etheric. Sometimes they're closed, sometimes they're not letting enough in, sometimes they're too open. And if you look at different charts of the chakras, some of them are clockwise, some of them are counterclockwise. So what it is for you may not be the same as what it is for the next person. That's what I found with my clients. So I always test before I do anything. So pick up your pendulums again. And we want to ask, are all my chakras aligned right now? All right, mine are. That's good because I work on them a lot. Thank you, Gabriel. Stop the pendulum, please. Thank you. Do any of my chakras need work right now? Are you saying they're aligned, but they may not be open completely or whatever? Stop the pendulum, please. Are any of my chakras too open? No, thank you. Stop the pendulum, please. Are any of my chakras too closed? Yes. Stop the pendulum, please. Now is where I start to use the stones. Each stone represents a chakra. I already connected it to my chakra system. So over each stone, I will ask for Gabe to show me, like, what does the energy look like? Let this be. And then using this stone, I will reset my energy. You're getting a whole extra class here, man. Okay, so this is the root. Okay, please show me my root chakra. Thank you very much. Stop the pendulum, please. Please show me my sacral chakra. Thank you very much. Stop the pendulum, please. Please show me my solar plexus chakra. Okay. So Gabe, is this the chakra I need to work on? Yes. Stop the pendulum, please. Is this the only chakra I need to work on today? Yes. So we found the one that I need to work on. You can go through the rest of them and ask the same question and see if any of them are not moving, then you know that that's the chakra you need to work on. So this is my solar plexus. And Gabe, show me what my solar plexus should look like if it's healthy, when it's healthy. Oh, thank you, Gabe. Stop the pendulum, please. Okay, utilizing this stone as my solar plexus. Please show me again what my solar plexus looks like right now. Now you can see the difference. I mean, look at the difference in that. So Gabe, can you help me clear this chakra and get it set up right? Yes, thank you so much. Stop the pendulum, please. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on that chakra utilizing this stone because it's easier than trying to do this. And we're going to say open, 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 clear, 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 empower, 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 open, 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 clear, 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 empower, 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 open, 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 clear, 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 empower, empower, empower. Okay. Thank you, Gabe. Can you show me my chakra now? Or please show me my chakra now. I gotta stop saying can because then you just say yes. All right, you see how much healthier that looks? All right. Thank you. Stop the pendulum, please. Is this sufficient for right now? Yes, thank you, Gabe. Stop the pendulum, please. Should I work on this again a little bit later? Yes. Okay, thank you. Can we do this for others? Yes, and that's one of the reasons also why I like to use the gemstones, because you can assign the gemstones to whomever you want. The caveat is that they have to give you permission to go into their energy to do that in order for it to work effectively. It's never a good idea to just dive into somebody else's energy because it can be very uncomfortable for them and it can create bad karma for you. So you don't want to do that without asking permission first. And you can also excuse me, you can also ask them, you know, you could just say, is it all right if I pray for you? You don't have to tell them exactly what you're doing. It's the same thing, basically, as you're manipulating energy or you're trying to get spiritual help energy-wise. So some people understand prayer better. Some people understand Reiki. You explain it to them in terms that they will understand. And then we had another question. If someone is, how can you focus on that? What chakra should you focus on? Okay, so if someone isn't feeling well, it depends on what is not feeling well. And yes, you can encourage healing for someone. Yes, you can pray for that. But there's a difference between praying for it and sending out the energy and being real direct with it. So for instance, if like I pray for my father all the time. So I ask that his greatest good be served and please help support him in whatever it is that he needs right now, as opposed to specifically going in and trying to alleviate depression or something where I'm having to dig into his energetic. And still, it's always best to ask, because if the person can open up to the energy, it will work a lot better than if they don't recognize that it's coming and then they see it as something foreign and then their body just automatically bounces it back. You don't want that happening either. Let's see what else. So if someone isn't feeling well, how can you focus on that? So if you're talking to someone who's just got general malaise, you know, they just don't feel good, they don't know exactly what it is, it may not be about working with their chakra system. It may be something different. So the way to do that is to use your pendulum to break it down to see what exactly might be going on. So you may ask the pendulum, is, you know, so-and-so is not feeling well. Is that correct? Yes. do I have permission from so-and-so spirit to try and support them in this? Then you'll get a yes or a no. And sometimes you get a no and you have to leave it. So not everybody wants to get better, and not everybody, it sounds cruel, but not everybody is supposed to. There is a course of action. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine today, and she had gotten really ill, and she was like, I'm very grateful for getting ill because it taught me so much and it's showing me so much. But if she had avoided that, like energetically or otherwise, she would have missed all those lessons, and then it would have had to come up at a later time. So we don't know what the greatest good or how the greatest good is going to be served. We have to just, the way we formulate our questions needs to be around that, because we don't know everything. We don't see what's going to come out in the wash. We don't know. So I'll tell you a story here. I had a client when I was much younger who, when I read her, she was a very successful person. She was like CEO of this company and was had a lot of money. Things were going well, but she just really was very stressed and was not very happy. So she came to me and she was asking a lot of questions about business and that kind of thing. And I'm like, something is going to happen that is really horrific, and that it's going to take you over a year to get over it. When it happens, you're going to think it's the end of the world, but the truth is it's the beginning of your new life. So just remember, as you're going through it and you're wanting to give up, that when you come out the other side, you're happy and peaceful, and you have found everything that you're looking for. Like, it's wonderful. So about 2 months after we did the reading, she was in this horrific car accident. She was bedridden for over a year, where she was in the hospital. And in the beginning, she actually thought about ending her life. And she said she kept hearing me say, this is the beginning of your new life. You know, embrace this, embrace it. It's going to get better. Once you come out the other side, it's going to be awesome. So when I heard from her 2 years later, she told me what had happened was that when she was in the hospital, she kept thinking of that and kept reaching for it. And she had this amazing recovery, and turns out she's an artist and does very well as an artist. She uses all of her business acumen to sell her art and to help other artists. And this is something she would have never done had that accident not happened. So she would have remained in a space where she was very unhappy and unfulfilled, but making great money. So to everybody else, she looked like she was successful. And that is what it took to shift everything for her, because she can't go back to the corporate world. It's not something that she can do. So sometimes spirit will give you the hard lessons that way. And it's not up to us to say, oh, well, you're going to get in this car accident, you need to avoid it, because then what else is going to happen to take its place? Or she's not meant to avoid it. This was a good thing, even though it was a bad thing in the beginning. Just about us not messing things up because we really don't know. So, do you guys have any other questions before we finish?
Hello, how are you?
Hello. Please text it. Oh, go ahead.
Do you want me to text? You want me to text it rather than speak?
No, you could speak. Go ahead. As long as you don't mind being on the video.
Well, you don't want to see me. I'm not like presentable like that.
Oh no, we just hear your voice. We don't see your face.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't mind. Yeah. I just wanted to ask, like, you know, if it doesn't apply, fine, it's okay. I'm just asking.
Mhm.
How would I use the or could you use the pendulum, like things like or maybe it's crystals, not specifically the pendulum, for areas of your home, or if you want to decide about cleaning, housework. And then secondly, if you want to decide like a business, what type of business or product and things like that. Those are the two things.
Yes, they're very good for that. So when you're talking about things in your home, so say you lost something, but you don't know where you lost it. You create like a little diagram of your house, like you draw it, and then you go over it with the pendulum over each room, and the pendulum will tell you yes or no, and then you can, you know, narrow it down. Like, is it in this part of the room? Is it in this part of the room? Is it near here? It's got to be yes or no questions when you're doing that. The other thing is with a business, as long as you have an idea to start with, it can help you make those decisions. So you don't say, should I do this or that? You say things like, is it for my highest and greatest good to start doing more coaching work? See, I got a yes. So that's the way the direction that my business is starting to turn. Thank you very much. Stop the pendulum, please. And then if I say, is it in my best interest to become a race car driver? Now that's something I would love to do, but I get a no. You don't ask should questions, because when you should, you're taking away your decision making. You say, what is better for me? Or you could say like, is working at a regular company, working a regular job, in my highest good? Is that part of my highest good right now? Stop the pendulum, please. Is focusing on my business for my highest and greatest good? All right, I don't know if you could see it shaking like this, but Spirit's like, there's more information you need to know. So that's what that tells me. Then you can ask more specific questions.
I have a question or a comment.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I'm reading. This sounds good. So you want to know that you're dealing with your guide. So one of the things that you do is I always have a secret signal with my guide. So my guide is Gabe. And Gabe he's awesome. He's been around me since I was a little kid. Angel Gabriel. He always is there whenever I need him. I never feel alone. So what you want to do is get familiar with your guides. And I have a whole series on your guides and how to connect with them and all that kind of stuff. And once you go in and you connect with your guide, you ask them, and I think I have this up on YouTube, where we go in and we actually meet our primary guide. And it's a really powerful journey to do that. When you do that, then you can ask for a name. You don't always get a name, or you may not understand the name, because sometimes they're in languages that we don't understand, or they're I don't say languages that we don't understand, but there are sounds and stuff that we don't interpret the same way. But you ask them for a secret signal. So what is a secret signal? So it could be like stroking your hair gently, putting their hand on your shoulder. It could be feeling a hug. It could be getting chills on your arm. It could be like, you figure out what you want as your signature, as your secret signal. You can also have something that you see visually, or that they give you an impression of. So it could be a smell. Like you could smell sandalwood, or you could smell rose. It could be a taste. It could be anything that you decide between the two of you. And then what you do is you practice a little bit, and you say, can you please give me the signal? And then they'll give you the signal. And that way, you know. Now, the caveat there is that you don't then argue with them and say, well, I don't know if I felt that or not. Because the more you doubt, the worse it is. Then it doesn't work. You know, it's only going to work if you have faith in it. And if you have faith in them, then it'll work. But if you're constantly questioning and not accepting things, it's not going to work. So you have to, once you set something and they give it back to you, you have to accept that. It can't be, well, I don't know if that's enough. There's nothing that annoys me more and annoys spirit more than somebody who will continually keep asking for more and more and more proof. So eventually when you do that, just so you know, because I've had clients that this has happened to, is they'll start giving you like the weirdest, most outlandish answers to your question because you're not answering, you're not listening. So if you're not listening, why should they bother? Because it takes energy for them to talk to you, just like it takes time for someone else to spend with you. And if you're constantly questioning the same thing or asking the same question a million times in 1,000 different ways because you're not getting the answer that you want, but maybe you're just getting the truth, you know, things don't work out well. That's just not a good thing. It's just not good. So yes, you can use it for all kinds of things. And also, like when I talk about the chakras and going over the body, you can have either a picture of yourself, full body, or even a headshot, you know, where are my headaches coming from? And then have the pendulum, you move it from point to point, you see where it goes, where it moves. There's also pendulum boards. I have never used one, just so that you know. That's why I don't have one right now. But there are different pendulum boards that you can use where it could spell out things and stuff like that. To me, that gets more complicated. And I like to use my simple tools for simple things. So I am not going to use a Ouija board. I am not going to use a pendulum to spell things out. I am going to ask spirit to tell me in a dream, give me an impression, throw a book at my feet, like do something like that where it's more in your face and it's more, I don't know, it's easier. I go for simple. I like simple. The more simple, the better. I'm not into any type of too much ceremonial magic because I feel like that muddies the water because you start focusing too much on, did I get the right oil? Do I have this right ingredient? Is this right? Is that right? Where spirit just is like, spirit is energy. It's about your intention. And it's about focus. So if you have the intention there and you raise your vibration so that you meet them halfway, then you're going to get the answers that you need. Maybe not what you want, but the answers that you need. And that's not always the same thing. And we get frustrated with that because we want things handed to us. And that's not the way it works most of the time, because it's the journey that's important, not the destination necessarily. It's how we get there. What do we learn on the way? What do we see on the way? I have traveled the United States from coast to coast multiple times. And every time I do it, I make sure I have months to be able to do it in so that I can stop when I see things that are unusual or beautiful. And I can explore and go into, you know, different places to see what the history is there. Stop in little towns and eat the local food and just experience the whole thing instead of just flying to my friends in LA or up in Washington or whatever from Philly, because I want the experience of it. It's about being in the moment and allowing yourself to be open to whatever it is that it's trying to teach you. So, any other questions? Oh, you're welcome.
When you mentioned this to the last question,
Mhm.
for the spirit to show you a sign like of the wind or some whooshing feeling or sound, is that if they, what was that sign for? To let you, is that
To
like
let you
equivalent
know
to a
who
yes?
you're talking to. So when Gabriel is around me, when he's instructing me or we're doing something, if I feel a little bit off or it seems like his answers aren't norm, like it doesn't feel right to me, or even sometimes just at the beginning, just to practice, I'll say, Gabe, please show me your presence. And we have a secret signal that he gives me that I quiet down and I wait for. But if it's something that's not him that's trying to interfere, it doesn't know what the signal is, so it doesn't know what to do. You
Oh,
understand what I'm
okay.
saying? It's so you
Yeah,
know who you're talking to.
Oh, okay. That sounds like advanced or for people who already know their spirit guides and all that.
Well, it's one of the
Probably
first, when I teach people, one of the first things that I teach you is how to clear how to connect with your spirit guide, and how to create that secret signal. Because to me, all the rest of it doesn't work very well if you don't know who or what you're working with, because you don't know what's coming into your field. And generally what's down here and around us more than anything are lower vibe things, like ghosts, who are people without bodies. They don't know anything more than you do. You might get like little elementals, which are pretty cool, but they're also not high vibe beings. That they could tell you how to grow a flower and stuff like that, but they're not real good with bigger stuff. So you're not calling in from the upper echelons, like you're not calling in the Christ, or you're not calling in to speak to Buddha or to speak to your angel or anything like that, because you're down here. So that's why I feel like that's got to be your foundation from the very beginning. At least that's the way I teach it. I know other teachers teach differently, but I feel that's got to be your foundation.
Will you be having that course anytime soon? Because
yeah, I do. I have several of them recorded, because I just went through Exploring Your Intuition. We did, I think, 4 modules. We started with intuition basics, then we went to energy basics, then we went to shadow work, and then we went to spirit guides to build the foundation. And each one is like 4 classes. And then it just one builds on the other. So I do them a lot, actually. So if you're interested, just text me or send me an email.
Yeah, I see you have the intuition class next week. What is that going to cover?
That class is going to be, that's quick intuition. So that's going to be teaching you how to trust your intuition more. So, and how quick it can happen. So we'll be doing like exercises with that. Just so that you know where it's coming from and know how to feel it in your body, if it's your intuition or if it's something else, like where to feel it. Because you get information from all different sources. You get like you think, you get from spirit, you have intuition that's internal, and it just tells you where to feel it in your body to know that that's your intuition. And to
sounds like what you're saying, there's more than one intuition, because you said that's quick intuition. So there's other types of intuition.
Yeah, well, because sometimes you're really focused on something, but this would be like as you're driving and there's probably an accident up ahead, do I go right or left? And to get that quick answer and just take it, instead of questioning it and sitting there and trying to figure all these different things out. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we've been on for a little while. What I would like to do now is conclude the recording. And you guys will have access to this on Facebook, and it'll also be put up on Meetup. I always put the links up underneath the event, or at least I try to. I'm not always good, but it's always on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So we're going to move on to the more back and forth, where we'll all be on screen, but it will not be recorded. And I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for joining us on Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics. This was Playing with Your Pendulum, where we discussed using pendulum work for divination and other things. You can find me at www.geralynstjoseph.com or on Meetup at Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics. Join us. It's a lot of fun. Mahalo and have a great day.